different sizes and different variations and show you, but I want you to start with your hand in the middle of your walking stick, just to warm it up before we get into the motions. Now, if someone's attacking you, you're not gonna warm up first, obviously, we know that. And at the same time, I want you to practice a proper warm up so that when you do training, you train, get the most out of it, so that you are better able to defend yourself, protect yourself and your family with a walking stick without getting injured. You're gonna be stronger, more powerful, because you do these stretching motions and these strengthening motions. Turning your staff like this or your stick like this is gonna build power in your grip and your forearm. After you do that for about 30 seconds, put it in the other hand, and you're gonna do the same thing. It just takes a little bit to properly prepare to stay safe from injury. When you train to protect yourself or your family from a violent attack using a walking stick. And I'm using a martial arts staff, which I also use as my walking stick, but you can use any kind of walking stick. You use a hiking pole, a trekking pole, you get one of those nice Brazos self-defense walking sticks, anything that you use that's just a stick. Either this length, this one's 54 inches, or you can use a shorter one. I'm gonna be using this Irish style walking stick, the Irish Shillelagh. This was a briarwood. It's very hard. It's 36 inches. So I'm gonna show you how to use that too. But we're gonna start here. You've warmed up properly, starting with it in your back hand. The first thing that you're gonna do is point your thumb at the thread. Now, when I say point your thumb at the thread, I mean just directly at him, so that is it in the right position that when you thrust, you're bringing it right into his face for self-defense. Think about removing his ability to breathe temporarily, permanently, his ability to see you, going through his eyes, or just smashing him so hard in the head that you knock him unconscious for self-defense. So the first thing I want you to practice is with a split stance. It means one foot in front of the other one, doesn't matter which one. You're just going to lift as you're pointing your thumb, bring your staff or your walking stick straight forward. You're gonna strike with the short end of the stick, the part that's coming out of your thumb. Just this part right here. Daniel's here, Daniel's in Boston, welcome Daniel. So from this position, think about extending the arm as you point the thumb, turn through your shoulders and hips, and if you want a stronger strike, move your foot forward or lean your body into it, leading with your hand. The second thing I want you to practice is bringing your hand forward in that exact same motion, and at the end, turning your thumb down, which turns the stick over and allows the long side of your stick to hit him across the side of his face or into his head. The idea is you want to remove or destroy his ability to attack you. Yes, this Wallace says tactical walking stick. It's a tactical walking stick, any kind of hiking, trekking pole, an umbrella. We're going to show you how to do a shorter version of this. You can use an umbrella, you can use a walking cane. But the idea is that your stick is going to be longer in reach than his bladed weapon. Maybe he's got a knife, a machete, a hatchet. Maybe he's swinging a stick at, or he's got a stick, some rod, bat, golf club. You're still going to have reach advantage when you're using the average hiking pole, tactical walking stick, or trekking pole. Greg's here. Greg says he's in Winchester, England, in the United Kingdom. Thanks for my time. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you guys are training with me. So the first motion, striking with the short end. The second motion, hitting with the long end. And this is just a turning motion. Notice that you're turning through your shoulders and hips. And as you practice this, you go a little quicker every time. You can hang a tennis ball or a sock full of rocks tied to a string from a tree limb or the truss of a house. Maybe it's in the garage, maybe you're in the backyard, maybe you're in the hallway of your condominium or your community, and something that you can use as a target. So you practice hitting that target again and again so you can get better accuracy. And then you're striking now with the long side. You can also bring your thumb back the other way like you're hitching a ride, and that's going to hit him on the other side of his head for self-defense. Or maybe he's reaching in with that weapon, he's trying to punch you or grab or choke. You're going to smash that hand out of the way. The third motion I want you to practice is lifting your hand to your ear like you're answering your phone. Now that long side of the stick is going to come up between his legs or up under his chin or into his solar plexus. Or again, his hand is coming out and you're just going to smash maybe break that bone on the bottom, which is kind of thin, but you're smashing here as you bring your hand up, and you're creating distance between you and him. He's trying to close the distance. You're going to intercept him with your stick, your walking stick, and then other hand can come on it, and from here, a simple thrust through his eyes, his nose, his teeth. Again, what can you remove or destroy? The basic principles of self-defense come from Tim Larkin's book, When Violence is the Answer. I'd like you to read that book. It's in the description below. Once you read that, you understand you're targeting his ability to see, breathe, be awake. All the things that he's trying to hurt you with violence, you're going to use violence against his violence to stop the attack. It doesn't matter if you're bigger than him or he's bigger than you. What matters is that you understand these basic principles. Situational awareness, number one, but then ask, what can I remove or destroy? And then that tells you what to strike with your self-defense walking stick, hiking stick, trekking pole, whatever you use for self-defense. You might use, this is the Japanese Joe, it's 54 inches. Around the cabins here from Kentucky, around the cabin walks with a cane, good piece of hickory. Hickory is amazing. Thank you for the free lessons from Croatia. Cleanero Fun Clean. Cleanero Fun Clean. I love that. What a great name. I bet everything's clean at your house. Joe D. Creator says that I am too strong. It's the way I was made. I praise God. I thank God for my strength and my health and lots of push-ups. I just got back from the park. I don't have a gym membership. I stop at the parks anytime there's a monkey bars, or some of them that have actual pull-up bars. I did my pull-ups, I did my dips, get on the ground, I do some push-ups, and if you do a little bit every day, you'll still stay mostly healthy and strong. And Bigavelli is here from Hawaii, and Johar is here from Germany. Welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for being here. So we start, number one, turning, just a simple thrust, using the short side to strike. Maybe it's into his solar plexus. Maybe you bend your knees a little bit as you do it, and you go lower, hitting him between the belly button and the privates, putting him on the ground. Number two, same motion, and then turning at the end. So you're now hitting him farther away with the long side, with a lot of power, a lot of speed. It's unexpected. Striking this way, you can bring it back. Number three, answer your phone. Bring your hand to your ear, keeping your elbows in toward the center line of your body, and simply thrusting, pushing with the long side of your stick. And this way, so we have those three basic motions. Christian Thompson's here. Very happy about the new walking staff. Made it out of maple. Yeah, and it says maple is very strong and light. Amen. This staff around the cabin comes from a company called Cane Masters. They make all my walking canes that are specific to self-defense. They also make other things like fancy canes, pretty canes, but I like the self-defense stuff. And they also make hiking staffs. I have two lengths. This is the Joe, this is the bow. The bow is Okinawan word or Japanese word for staff. So bow means staff, so I'm saying staff. Bow staff is staff. So this is the long staff. They're both made out of hickory. They're extremely strong, and they're heavy. So when they hit with a lot of force. And these will last you a lifetime, as long as you keep them well oiled. This one, I had them finish it. This one I said, don't finish it. I like unfinished wood. I like to keep it oiled myself. But these are just two. If you want to see what they cost or what the dimensions are, if you want to make your own or find it somewhere else, go to the link in the description that says hiking staffs or self-defense staffs, self-defense walking sticks. And that goes, well, it'll take you to see more information about these. So we're up to 3 strikes. I want to show you if it's in your front hand. Now this is your right hand. I'm left-handed, so you can do this either way. You should practice it so that you can do it with either foot forward. I have my right foot forward, my right hand is facing him. He's coming too close. I'm going to point the thumb again. Remember, we did that and then we struck when we had it in the back hand. Now that it's in your front hand, it's going to put it into your back hand. So now you're holding it with 2 hands, and you can simply push through your front hand so that you're using it almost like a pull cue and strike or thrust this way. Notice that when you do that, you're turning your hand up. That's to lock it in place. If you take a small step with your front foot, like a boxer with jab, you can stick it through his face. Then I want you to practice pulling it back and then lifting your back hand, bringing it straight up between him and you, and you're gonna smash the teeth. Hopefully his tongue is sticking between his teeth and When you do that, you're gonna break his teeth and cut his tongue off for self-defense. In the process, you gave him the command, back up, you're too close, you're minding your own business, you went for a hike, you're walking in the neighborhood, you're on a busy city street, you just happen to bring a trekking pole or walking stick with you to help you get around, and because you know it's the perfect gray man self-defense tool. It's in your front hand, he's coming closer, you put your back hand up, you're telling him, get out of my face, you're too close, stay away from me. He keeps coming, point your thumb, bend the knees a little bit, thrusting through your hand, push him back, pull, lift it up here, smashing right up under his chin or into the hand or up between the legs. Maybe you lift him off the ground as you go between his legs, stopping him, moving him back. From this position, number 4, number 5, point the thumb. This time you're gonna punch with the back hand like you're doing a reverse punch in boxing. Anything coming off the backside is called a cross punch because it goes across your body. This martial arts traditionally, that's a reverse punch. Usually you have it chambered here, some styles are here, but the point is it turns over from here, front hand, stop him, move him back, pushing, and then think about you can take out his knee, go through his ribs, go through his arm, maybe he's reaching, smash that knife out of his hand, or straight across his temple, his jaw into his neck, knocking him out for self-defense. Bill Miller's here. Bill's in Vegas. Thank you, Bill. Good to see you. Lita's in Europe. Nice to see you, Lita. Woo Woo Tank likes rattan. It's light and super strong. I love my rattan staffs. I don't have them here. They're in Ohio. I didn't bring them down. Big Valley says, I need that staff. So again, this is the Cane Master staff. It's in the description. Woo asks, have you ever seen the Sistema video where the guy ties people up with a stick? People cannot get off the ground. Sistema guy walked away. No one is even touching the stick. I've seen that one. Again, and the problem, I'm not criticizing it because maybe it would work, but it always works like Aikido, Sistema, traditional martial arts, one step, Hushin-sul, one step sparring, whatever you want to call it, works best when you have a partner who is feeding you a punch or coming at you a certain way. They often don't work. That's why I don't teach you a lot of blocking moves. Now you could block like this, you could strike, you could reach in, twist, you can go up behind his back and get his arm behind his back. You can do all that, but in my opinion, he's got a knife or there are multiple attackers. Let's say you're walking in a group setting, you're downtown, you're just going to the store, you have to go out, you happen to bring your stick with you, there's a group of thugs come up and they're getting ready to stomp you into the ground or try to take your life, take your freedom, try to hurt you, maybe they've got weapons. Then I don't want you to dance around with them like you're Steven Seagal in the movies. I want you to smash through his face, smash here, smash this guy. You can switch your hands, go for this guy's knees, and keep it simple. So you gotta keep it really simple, straight strikes. There's a lot of circular stuff. My son was watching a lot of Jackie Chan recently. I used to love the old Jackie Chan. Now the young Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan's 70 years old now. He's still doing great movies, but they're all movies. Jason Bourne could take on probably 100 hand-to-hand, well-armed, well-trained, special forces, spy, murderer, killers, assassins, and he would disarm them all because it's a movie. But it's a movie, you gotta remember that. In the street, when it's you or somebody else, keep it as simple as possible. Don't go all Steven Seagal. Don't try to do stripping the knife and taking the knife and all this stuff. Try to take the gun away from people. If you have a stick, you point it at them, you punch him with the back hand, and then from here, you're gonna slide that hand forward again, and you're gonna bring the back side forward, and notice that when you're doing this, you're pushing along your staff. You're adding tension, you're adding force, you're adding speed as you turn through your shoulders and hips, and you're targeting his temple, his jaw, his neck. There's a process of nerves in there that if you hit it and go through, you can flush the blood out of the brain. Every once in a while, old school Taekwondo, when they used to really fight, not the new stuff in the Olympics, but the old stuff, people get kicked in the neck, hit that nerve, out like a light. Immediately they go unconscious. When I was a Marine, we used to do this dumb thing as young military policemen. You would take your arm, this part, the soft part, and you would strike and push and hit somebody there, and if you did it forcefully and fast enough, same thing. You just fall to the ground and we practice knocking each other out, just stupid things that young people do. But that, striking that spot with your staff for your life or death situation in self-defense might be a good option when you learn how to stop a violent attack, how to protect your family or yourself from a violent attack using your walking stick. It's all about where you're going to strike. Yeah, Bigga says the staff is legit. I love the staff because staff is just a stick. Let's talk about the short stick. Well, let me show you that last one more time because it's a front hand technique. Point your thumb. You can start with this thrusting motion, and the thrusting motion can go through your hand or you can just jab. And again, you're turning your arms over to lock it out. Turn it there, punch with the backhand. You can go low, you can go middle, you can go high, and then slide in your hand. And then look how much distance that gives you. Bringing it forward, chopping, and the same thing, you can go for his head, you can go for his shoulder, you can go for his elbow. Elbows, joints break faster than the arms do, but with his hickory staff, you're gonna break bones for self-defense, or take out his knee, put him on the ground. He can't chase you, he can't hurt you, he certainly can't stab you with that bladed weapon. Those are all options using this. This Joe is 54 inches. You can get a 48-inch oak dowel rod from most hardware stores or do-it-yourself shops. Sand it down, oil it up. Always put oil on it because when these come from the hardware store, they're kiln dried, low heat for a long period of time to suck all the moisture out so they don't rot and get bugs. And then you can pick them up at the hardware store. It's nice and dry, it's light. You'll sand it down. I like 3 grits of sandpaper and do 80, 110, and 220. Then it's nice and it's like so fast, right? Once you've done it for a while. The key is with sandpaper, don't grip. Make sure it's nice and light. Just roll, wrap it around in your hand, and you sand it. Then get a good rag and some butcher block oil or mineral oil. A light food grade is best because it's gonna be good. Don't get linseed. Boiled linseed oil is now a lot of metals. It's not really boiled linseed anymore. And those metals can soak into your hand and mess with your health. So use good mineral oil, oil it up, put it on real heavy, let it sit flat. Don't store your sticks in a corner. They'll get a bow in them. Always store them on the ground or straight up and down. Then practice with a stick, and then you get a hiking staff, you know how to defend yourself. You learn how to fight with a stick, you can always fight with a hiking staff, anything like that. All right, let's talk about 36 inches. The average, like a gentleman's walking stick or a gentlelady's walking stick. This one happens to be the Irish Shillelagh, the Irish fighting stick, which is designed or had been used for many centuries to knock people out and fight, and from clan to clan, town to town, cause death, murder, all that kind of stuff, as an offensive and defensive weapon. So this is perfectly made for it. Vayner's here from South Africa. Nice to see you again, Vayner. Thanks for being here. TG Games said, do I sell nunchuck? Yes, if you look in the description, you'll see a little link. It says for martial arts weapons and other gear, something like that. Go to that link. There's a lot of different options you can get for nunchucks. So this one is made out of briarwood. I believe this is made in the town of Shillelagh, or Shillelagh, as the Irish would say it. And it's made by a family in County Wicklow that's been making them for years and years and years. Yeah, greetings from Sweden, Rist says. Bradley's says Blackthorn. Yes, this is a Blackthorn Irish Shillelagh made in Ireland, in the County Wicklow, in the town of Shillelagh itself, by a family that's been making them for years and years, generations. This is the real, genuine article. This is a gift from Doug. Thanks, Doug. I know Doug will see this at some point. Doug sent me a bunch of these, different shapes and sizes. They're all gorgeous and beautiful, just like this. And they'll last forever. When I'm done with them, I'll pass them on to somebody else to share the wealth. Starting with it in your backhand, you have 3 ways to get it into the attack for self-defense. First one is to bend the knees, sliding your hand down the back, and then it's up here in this position, short side facing him. From this, I'm turning the shoulders and hips, same thing as the last one. But now you have this lead-filled knot of extremely, almost indestructible wood, breaking the teeth down his throat, stopping the breathing permanently if you had to, if you had that knife, if he's trying to steal your life, smashing his nose, going in through his eyes. From this position, bend the knees, you can bring it up in a strike, you can bring the backside forward, that's a punch, and turn your hand, just cracking him across the side of his face, or into his ribs, into the knees. The nice thing about these is they're light and extremely strong, and they're gonna hit hard. So from here, bend the knees, thrust, punch, answer your phone, smashing him up between his legs, up under the chin, coming forward. You can also slide and then bring this forward and crack him across for self-defense. John Green, it says, John from Lebanon, welcome from beautiful Lebanon. I was thinking about Lebanon, I was thinking about London the other day. Always driving through London on the way to Columbus, but you can drive through Lebanon too, right? So welcome, John. John and I are from Ohio. I'm from Ohio region originally. Now I'm here in beautiful sunny South Florida. And it's not extremely hot today like it has been. For some reason it's cooler. So it's not like 1,000,000 degrees in the garage. It's like 99, it's still hot, but not like it was. So bending the knees, bringing it up, thrust through here, smash through here. You can also bring your hand down the front. So 3 ways, down the back, down the front. I'll show you the third in a minute. From here, you can bring it up into this position and thrust, punch the back hand, chop down with the front hand, bring the back hand up under his chin, smash it through his nose. All simple moves for self-defense. This is how you protect yourself or your family, your loved ones from a violent assault, a violent attack using a simple walking stick. And it doesn't have to be an Irish shillelagh. This is the same length as any walking stick you can get from any store. Just make sure they're kind of sturdy, right? Spend a little bit more, get something nice, something you like, something stylish, bending, or make your own. You can go to the store, get a 36-inch dowel rod, again, made in oak. You might know how to carve, you can carve some things on it, or if you're like me, just sand it, oil it. Now you've got the homemade self-defense walking stick. So slide in here, point the thumb, step and thrust, bring this up, bring it down, bring the back hand through, bring the front hand through. This is the split grip. It also works in the push-up grip. So you can either bring it here, your palms up in the front hand, or palm down in the front hand. That's a hard thrust. When your hands are in this position, you're really swinging through your midsection. You're using your whole body to hit him, bringing the back hand forward. Think about coming into his ribs or up into his jaw, down over the top, straight up under his chin, down over the top of his head, step and thrust through his teeth, through his nose, through his chin, boxing his ears. You have a lot more power when you're holding with 2 hands. Create so much more leverage. Maybe taking out his knees, turning your wrist over. This is more of the Irish stick fighting technique. Turning, cracking here, turning here. You're always turning through your shoulders and your hips to hit harder, to hit faster, to get more power for that strike for self-defense. And that's gonna break bones, crack a skull for self-defense, knock him unconscious. Think about what we're talking about. It's not martial arts. We're not doing partner drills. We're not, it's not a street fight. It's not a bar fight. It's not a beef at school and you're gonna hurt somebody. This is, you find yourself in a compromised position for whatever reason. A group of thugs is coming after you, a deranged person who's mentally ill, who should be away from society, but they've let him out over and over and over again. He's emboldened because every time you hurt somebody, they let him back out. You hurt somebody very badly. Police, wherever he is, comes, picks him up when they find him. He goes in front of the judge or the magistrate, they give him no cash bail, put him back on the street. Or they they bring his charges down, diminish his charge, put him back on the street. It's happening every single day, we see it in the news. People are being violently assaulted. Innocent people, law-abiding citizens like you and me, whether you're in the UK or Paris or anywhere in Europe, or you're here in the States in some of these big cities or other parts of the world. You need to learn how to defend yourself. And you do that with a walking stick. If you stop someone, protect yourself from a violent attack or assault or your family, using a walking stick. Maybe he's got one of these. This comes out, there's no question about his intent. He's no longer just trying to punch you and beat you up in a fight. He's trying to take your life. And so you have to think in terms of how you can remove or destroy his ability to do that to you. Can you knock him out? Can you take away his vision temporarily? Can you or permanently? Can you take away his ability to breathe temporarily because you smashed his nose into his face, you knocked the teeth down his throat, all that blood and mucus is causing him hard breathing. Maybe he had that knife and he's trying to take your life and you put it through his throat and he asphyxiates. And that's how you had to defend yourself because you didn't have no choice. And yeah, maybe law enforcement comes, maybe the military shows up, maybe they're there 3 minutes, 4 minutes after it happened, maybe even a minute after it happened. It can be already too late. So if you learn how to slide down the front, put it here, thrust, smash, smash, bring it up, bring it down. You could also simply be walking with a stick like this. This is very common in my neighborhood. A lot of the older gentlemen carry sticks like this. I've seen women carrying them now. And a lot of times it's for vicious dogs that are being let off the leash. Right now, there's a lot of financial stress around the world and people can't feed their animals. They let them out of the house, they just let them go. And some of those animals, especially when they get with others, pack animals, then they start going after your dog or they go after you. If you have a stick, you can stick it in the mouth. The dog can at you. Dogs instinctively will, grab and play tug of war. Stick that in his mouth. Let him tug on that instead of trying to rip chunks of skin out of your leg or out of your throat, right? Let him do that. If you had to, you can smash the nose, anywhere between the nose and the eyes and the top of the head. You can stick it if he's already got his mouth on somebody. You come up and they're being mauled by one or more vicious dogs. You can stick the stick between like that, and you're behind him and pull straight back, and that's gonna rip him right off of it. It's gonna open his mouth to release the person that he's trying to maul. And so a stick can become very useful, is my point. But you carry it like this, and then from this position, you can, if you have to defend yourself, your hands are up, hey, get away from me, immediately strike. You can strike down on top, you can bring the backside through, you can bring it through here, bring it back this way, turn your palm up, get in two hands, striking, thrusting, lifting, like a rifle bayonet attack, like a rifle butt strike, or turning your hand over in that push-up position, smashing, lifting, pushing through his face, boxing his ears, taking out the knee, taking out his, turning his operating system off, knock him out, knock him unconscious. All simple things that you can do. Let me see. Sensei Emmett's here. Sensei's in Ireland. Sensei Emmett knows all about the Irish Shillelagh. 12-year-old daughter is getting very good with the Shillelagh, he says. She had major spinal surgery and temporary on stick for recovery. So she took positive learning. What a great attitude, what a great story, Sensei Emmett. I pray for full, complete, and as fast as possible healing for your daughter. And I know she's got a great dad, great role model. I know you'll be able to help her with it. So she had scoliosis. I had a student last year, just out of the blue, same age, 12 years old. His dad just turned 13. His parents just found out major scoliosis, same fears, same anxieties. What are you going to do? How's he going to recover from it? And I pray for your daughter. I pray for him. I pray for everybody who needs healing. And we can get a lot from our sticks, right? As Sensei Emmett was saying, his daughter needed it, so she was open to learning. And just my daughter, who's 9, we were talking about the other day. She said, "Dad, will you teach me self-defense as I get older?" I said, "You don't remember? We've been doing it since you were 3. But of course, you will know how to defend yourself." That's one of the blessings of being a martial arts or self-defense instructor, is that we can definitely do that. And if I can't teach her something, I'll find somebody who can. Fontenot Sam says, "Good Aikido Joe practice." Yeah, so this is also known as the Aikido Joe. If you ever saw The Walking Dead, Morgan fights. He first discovers a guy who shows him some grace and teaches him the principles of Aikido, and then teaches him Aikido staff and how to kill zombies with his staff. And there's a lot of clips out there where he's getting the job done. And I think at some point he sharpens a tip, but you can do a lot. You don't necessarily need to sharpen it. So those are just some of the techniques. I did want to show you a little bit. Some people, I love my bow. This is my first martial arts weapon. My first martial arts weapon was a bow staff, or a bow, and it was really a painter's pole. I'll show you that too. It's not the actual painter's pole, because when I was a kid growing up and I painted, we had wooden tools. These fiberglass tools didn't exist when I was a kid. This is something that you can see it has paint on it. Probably has some what do they call that stuff? The wall paste on it, dry wall paste. So I've used this with a sanding pole head, and the nice thing about these, look at that, it's about the same length. So you might not have one of these. You might not feel comfortable walking around with a 6-foot staff. If you did, you have incredible reach advantage. That means you can keep him way back there if he's got one of these, and you can keep him off you. It's kind of like a spear. Spears in a lot of militaries before the invention of gunpowder, and even shortly after, a lot of warriors preferred spears because you keep him back. He's got a knife. You don't want him close with that knife. He's got a sword. You don't want him close with that sword. This is going to be sword and knife, and you get so much leverage when you strike with it. There are lots of things that you can do with the bow. Simple strikes. So you would stand behind it, point your thumb. There's your first strike. It's simply a thrust. Your back strike, and your hands will slide along. Put it where you want it. Second strike, coming across in a horizontal strike into the head or into the body, into the knee. Third strike is an angle coming down. If you were on the other side, it's the exact same thing. So point the thumb. There's the thrust. Backhand coming through horizontally or at an angle. Front hand coming down at an angle or horizontally. You can bring the strike down over his head. You can bring it up between his legs, either on the opposite side of your body or on the same side of your body, depending on what you're going to do the next strike after that, or where you just find yourself, where he's trying to hit you. But then, here's your painter's pole. The great thing about this one, it's really long, so I can really keep it back. And this one's made out of fiberglass, which is almost indestructible, and really sturdy aluminum. So you can keep it in there, keep it collapsed. Now it's extremely heavy, so when you hit, you're gonna hit with a lot of force. Maybe you're working on a job, or maybe this is a great tool, where you carry a paintbrush in a backpack, some sandpaper for the wall, and some spackling blades. And then if someone stops you, you're like, hey, I'm a house painter. I do it my part-time. It's how I make a little bit of money, because the economy's so bad and the price of everything keeps going up for some unknown reason. And I can't afford to eat or feed my family, so I'm painting houses on the side. True story. So maybe that's what you tell them. If they say, why do you have that big long pole? Is it to hit somebody? Absolutely not. I need to feed the kids. I need to pay the school fees. And then you can do all the strikes that you would do with that short staff, the Japanese Joe, or if you needed to, you lengthen a little bit, and now you have your bow, your longer staff. And then I've got one of these it's a blue one, it's about this long, that goes out to 6 feet. So I have one that I can carry, it would be more like the Tanbo, or I can make it 36 inches. So that's just a great alternative if you wanted. Yeah, Eddie Murphy, since Amos says Eddie Murphy used the brush shaft. So Eddie Murphy, if you haven't remembered, it's one of my favorite scenes in any movie. He's mopping, and he's trying to get to know the girl that he finds so attractive and he's so interested in. He's all proper because he's supposed to be a prince or whatever from Africa. And he's mopping. For some reason, he and Arsenio Hall know how to fight with sticks. That's, maybe in Africa, they always fight with sticks, staffs. And so he's talking to, I forget what, famous actor from, the later movies with that Tarantino guy. It's dark movies. He comes busting in with a shotgun, blows a couple of rounds, starts yelling at everybody, give me the money, do this, do that. And Eddie Murphy's standing there, his character, he's got his mop. And he tells the guy, leave these nice people alone. Guy's cussing in his face, and he's unscrewing his stick from the head. There's the screw. And the bad guy points the shotgun at him, and Eddie Murphy knocks it out of his hand. Simple, basic, easy move. And that is a movie. But if you had someone coming at you and you just were standing here nonchalant or non-aggressive, and you're trying to get him out of your face, and he takes one step too close, that move is very effective. Just simply lifting. It's the same thing we did earlier when we answered the phone, right? Bring it up here, but you have a pivot point, which makes it harder, faster, with more control. And then in the movie, he does a little swing thing and takes his legs out, falls to the ground. Go look it up. Eddie Murphy Coming to America shotgun scene, and then you'll find it. Alita says, watch a great video that I did yesterday with the beautiful Shillelagh. Yeah, longer than the average length. I've got those in storage. I'm going to bring them out so you guys can see that. Shogun says, oh, Shogun's here. Welcome back, Shogun. Shogun says, walking stick, this is getting ridiculous. I think Shogun is funny because I don't know if you're a modern Shogun, and so you carry things like this, and that's, you're a Ronin. You're a masterless samurai who is wandering from town to town offering your services of self-protection. Maybe you're an EP professional, executive protection guy. I think they call it close protection, CPO over there in Great Britain. I don't know where you are. Or maybe you're an old school shogun and you prefer the sword. Maybe we'll get the swords out and we'll do some of those for you. But the point is, whether a shogun agrees or not, you can defend yourself with just about any kind of stick. And for some situations, the longer, the better. And this is a stick. It has a function. I put my 18-inch roller cover frame, 18-inch frame, but now they make a 15-inch, which is really cool. So it's not as heavy. I grew up with an 18-inch, and then 9 inches when you're doing fancy homes and you have to get to certain spots. But 18 inches when you want to get done faster, and now it's 15 inches. Which is one of the reasons why I'm also so big, because I grew up working since I was a little boy. But the other thing, you put the sanding head on it, and then you come back after you fixed all the holes that people put in the apartments. That's what we use it for. And it's dried, the paste is dried, and then you gotta knock it down and make it flat so you can't see it after you paint it. Or sometimes I had a longer one than this that went up to 20, it was 18 foot, it was an 18-foot pole. And I painted an entire 2-story building with an 18-foot pole. But for whatever reason, you have an extension pole, that's what this one's called, this is by Purdy. And you have no other choice. Some guy comes at you, deranged, you're on the job. It happens all the time. People are on the job, there are more and more addicts just milling about places. You might have to work in a neighborhood where you have more aggressive people. The point is, if you learn how to fight with a martial arts stick, you can fight with any stick to defend yourself. All right, Wrist asks, which is better for self-defense, pull cue or mop handle? Most pull cues are gonna snap and break because they're thinner and they're made hard or sturdy but lightweight, and it's gonna break. If you get a good mop handle, a lot of mop handles now are made out of thin metal, so they're just gonna bend. But if you get an old, like if you go, like around here, the best kind of self-defense tool are maple or hickory tool handles for like a professional landscaper. And they're usually thinner, and they're made so they don't break, so that they're not constantly replacing their tools. That's the best to get. If you get just like a home version, like I've got some mops over there on the wall, they're just, first time you hit somebody with them, they're gonna bend and break. But if you get a good, like professional commercial grade, and they don't cost that much more, less than 20 bucks to get a good replacement handle at like Granger, or if you go to like an 84 Lumber or one of the a hardware store that also offers hardware to the commercial industry, you'll get a lot better. Rick says, grateful is better to protect themselves than others. It says it's not ridiculous. I appreciate that. Pull cue does work well. Yeah, Austin says, got one of those weapons that bark in the hand and bites out yonder. Yeah, I mean, if you can carry a self-defense tool that, but you can't use that in every single situation. It's not always appropriate. You get somebody who's out of their mind and mentally ill, but they don't have a knife or they don't have a gun, and you shoot them just because they're coming at you, or they're just trying to touch you or whatever, then you're going to jail. But if you have a stick, you can, hey, you're getting too close, you can hit him in a way that's non-lethal, that will move him back. You can hit him in the stomach, knock his air out, and not have to face a jury. Chef Fee says, just made a practice bow out of a curtain rod. It's a great tool. Curtain rods are usually made out of a really lightweight, like poplar or pine, white pine. You can make them a little bit stronger by wrapping them in like a good solid tape. You don't want to get like, don't use electrical tape or Gorilla tape or something like that, because then they'll get sticky in your hand as it rolls up. You'll get the glue on you. But get like a tennis racket tape, something like that. You can make it a little bit stronger. Pointed 1990 says, has no combat training, but started doing some stick training that I gave a few weeks ago, just to build the wrist strength, forearm. Yeah, keep doing that. And you know, all these strikes are simple strikes, you know, based on punches, based on the sword. And if you just keep doing the basic training, you don't have to know a whole bunch. You just have to know the principles. What can you remove or destroy? And that comes from Tim Larkin's book, When Violence is the Answer, which is in the description. Once you read that, it'll be like an enlightenment when it comes to self-defense training. You'll realize, oh, you don't need any specialized tool or weapon. You need understanding that he's going to try to crush your throat, choke, strangle you to death, and use that violence against you. You can take your thumb, and his throat is going to collapse under the same pressure as yours. So if you take your thumb and you stick it through his throat and start to collapse his larynx or his esophagus or whatever, what do we call this? His throat, and you break his windpipe, which it doesn't take much pressure at all, or you stick your thumb in his eye and you twist your wrist really fast and you pop his eyeball so it's not hanging on his chin for self-defense, or you palm strike his nose, smashing his nose. It's not going to go into his brain and kill him. That's a myth. But you can cause a lot of discomfort and pain, make his eyes water, make him choke. And as you're striking here, keep your hand like a claw and then dig into his eyes for self-defense. You can grab onto his ear and start to pull. It's going to come off with a few pounds of pressure. That's going to cause intense pain and discomfort. All these things that you can do to use violence against him. You don't have to be stronger. You don't have to be faster. You don't have to be younger. You don't have to know, brown level jiu-jitsu or higher. You just have to understand that question, what can you remove or destroy? Take a deep breath, calm yourself down a little bit, and then you'll know how to hit him. And if you've been practicing, like Appointed 1990 said, practicing just basic moves to strengthen the wrists and the arms, then you're going to be able to hit them with a lot more power, and it's going to be even more effective. Anyway, so thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys. We've got more of these this week. It's the weekend. More on this weekend that we can spend some time together, and we're going to do some more strength training. I'm getting inspired because I'm not in the gym anymore. I was only in the gym to rehabilitate my hip. Normally, I don't keep a membership to the gym. I only go every once in a while. I've been a lot lately because I was rehabilitating my hip from a hip replacement. But I let the membership go, saving the money. I was at the park today, it's beautiful. And I'm doing pull-ups, I'm doing push-ups, I'm doing dips, and walking on the beautiful trail, listening to the birds, seeing the sights. Down here, we've got crazy, beautiful birds, beautiful fish everywhere. I can go to the beach and walk on the beach. So why would I want to go sit in the stinky gym and watch people staring at themselves doing faces or selfies or whatever, faces, and then, or videotaping themselves for their TikTok or their Insta. Everybody's an influencer now. Why would I do that when I can go outside and experience God's grace and beauty and majesty? Anyway, you guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. I pray for your